Hey you guys, what's up? This is James here at Unique Perspectives. Thought I'd make another video. Hope you guys are doing well. Please like and subscribe. I really want to get into the topic today that I wanted to address, and I wanted to just get into this one topic, and that is really just talking about the idea of what it is that you bring to every relationship. What are you bringing to the table, metaphorically speaking? You know, one of the questions I always ask myself in reflection when it comes to the relationships I have with people, whether it's family, friends, coworkers, even just my job and everything else, I always ask myself, if I was to disappear, walk away from a job, walk away from a relationship, maybe I was abducted by aliens, whatever, I'm gone. The people that had me around, what would they miss? Was I pouring into their life? Was I doing something productive or constructive to build them up, to encourage them, to serve them in some way, whether it's spiritually, financially, just protecting them? What was it that I was doing, or what am I doing to at least stand out when it comes to my relationships with people? And, you know, I work a job working with children, and recently I was finishing my whole set of classes. I was leaving Cheviot Hills out here in California. I was working in one of the parks in this area. A lot of the parents, after I would finish different classes, they would just come in gratitude and say, "Coach, you know, man, you did such a good job with the kids. Like, you're really good at your job. You're really good at what it is that you do." And I heard that from like all 5 of my classes. And it reminded me of, you know, how the Christian life should be when it comes to anything or anyone that we are in the vicinity of. Like, we should be pouring into people, just much like how Christ pours into us, you know, and how he poured into the unbelieving world when he walked this earth 2,000 years ago. And so I'm asking you, or maybe I want to challenge you to ask yourself, with all the relationships that you have with people around you, maybe it's your brother, your sister, your cousin, a friend that you knew from high school or middle school friend, your neighbor, your coworkers, are you pouring into them? What is it that they would miss if you disappeared? And so that's something that I always ask myself. And this is why a lot of my friends and a lot of the people that I'm very close with, you know, we're very tight, because I deliberately and actively and consciously pour into my relationships. I do it deliberately. I actually plan it out. I want to encourage my friends and remind them, hey, you had a very rough start in life, or maybe you had some childhood traumas, or maybe you had these difficulties in your relationships, romantic relationships that failed. But look where you are today. Look at your car. Look at your accomplishments. Look at the things that you've built. Look at the things that you've actually survived. And I always remind people of what it is that they've done. And so what often happens is when you acknowledge people, when you affirm that they have value, they want to be around you. And this is a method that I actually use for a lot of my students for the last 20 plus years. I'm working with children, I'm pouring into them. Anytime they draw a little picture, I'm celebrating them, I'm kissing the picture, and you can see their eyes glow, and they just love the response. But I noticed that adults, regardless of how old we are, we can be 18, we can be 60, 80, but people appreciate being affirmed. They appreciate you taking interest in their lives and valuing them and things like that. You know, one of the verses that comes to mind is Philippians 2:3. You know, the Apostle Paul writes in the New Testament, he says, how we shouldn't pursue things that are, you know, vain, or, you know, things that are going to bring us into like conceitful thoughts. But then he says something very interesting. He says, like, consider others more than you think of yourself. Like, putting others before yourself. Like, think of them as more valuable. And I love that humble approach to my relationships with people. So I'm in a place where when I'm close to people, I try to really just acknowledge and affirm their value, their worth. I actively and consciously plan it out. I make sure that every time I'm around somebody of value to me, especially, I always compliment how they dress, how they smell. Maybe it's their accomplishments. Maybe it's, like I said, maybe it's a car that they've worked very hard for, that it's their favorite car and they finally have it. Like, I will remind them, hey, you did this. You did it. You accomplished what it is that you've wanted. You've always fantasized about having this car. Now you have it. And so I like to just remind people of even the journey that they've traveled into, the things that they have survived to make it to where they are today. You know, I had a friend of mine that I was conversing with on the phone, really close friend of mine, has a beautiful house, beautiful family, just had a baby, a daughter. I need to actually go visit them, actually. Now that I'm talking about this, I need to remember to go and see them. I was talking to him on the phone, and I remember he was talking about some challenges that he was having, some trials with, some other stuff in business. And I just reminded him, hey, you came to this country X amount of years ago, and look what you have now, man. You're doing a phenomenal job. You dedicated yourself, you committed yourself to your craft. And I even told him, like, one of the decisions that he was in the process of making regarding business, that it would be a step down from what it is that he's accomplishing. Like, maybe it's something that he should rethink. And he thanked me for even just acknowledging his accomplishments accomplishments and what he's done, because he's been working so hard, he hasn't looked back and said, hey, I actually have survived these things. I have actually made it through a lot of amazing things, and I have survived, and I am thriving, you know. So I really just want to leave you guys with the thought that if somebody walked away from your relationship, what is it that you're doing that, or maybe that you have done, that they would miss? And I really want to encourage you guys, make yourself stand out in your relationships. Do something unique and pour into people. Even if you have people that come see you from time to time, make sure that you serve them and fill their bellies with some good food, you know? Like, make sure that they know that you love them and that you value them based on your actions. I'm not saying let people walk on you, but I'm saying make sure that if you're gone or they're separating from you, they're going to know, oh, I'm not going to get this person that's going to open the door for me, or I'm not going to get this person that's going to fill my belly with food, or I'm not going to get this type of affection from somewhere else. This person uniquely is going to offer this uniquely. Like, this is something that's rare, you know, for them to at least be aware that you're not a dime a dozen. You're a unique individual person with your own unique attributes, your own traits, that when you pour into them, it's just going to be, it's different. It's different. And so I do this with my students that I've been working with for the last 20 years. I do it with my family that give me the luxury of being close to them, but I also do it with my really close friends, and I'm talking about the real friends. I'm not talking about the sometimes friends. I'm talking about the real ones, the ones that stay by your side through thick and thin. So I really want to just encourage you guys, make sure you stand out and pour into your relationships. Serve your partners, serve your family, serve your community, serve the people that you have access to that God is blessing you with. And make sure that anytime that they even think about walking away from you, breaking up with you, or any kind of stuff like that, that it's going to be a lot that they're going to miss, because you are a very valuable individual that's pouring into them. God bless you guys. Take care. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.